Dana has confirmed, once again, he's doing an interview and somebody in the media asked him about the heavyweight division. And Dana just let him know, we are not changing course. And that was one of the big predictions, right? One of the big predictions is, hey, there's nothing wrong with the way this got set up. And I'm going back to Aspinall and Sergi. But something within the information we're being given today will need to change. It will need to change once this is done and kind of the smoke clears and the dust settles. And that would be very normal in our industry. So that prediction is not wild or conspiracy-based at all. Just kind of sit and you wait to get a little bit more information. And Dana said, no, that's not what's happening. He laid it out. He said, Jon Jones didn't do anything wrong to lose the fight with Stipe. Right? You got Jon Jones, who's a legend. You got Stipe, who's a legend. They've agreed to fight. We said we wanted to make the fight. Jon did nothing wrong. In fact, Jon is now injured. He doesn't get punished for getting hurt. Stipe has done nothing wrong. Stipe wanted to do the fight, train for the fight, prepare for the fight, was told he's going to get the fight. So we are going to preserve that fight. It is going to be for the World Championship, which that statement solidifies that they're not going to strip Jon. Now, Dana then said something that I found to be interesting, which was about Tom Aspinall, and said if Tom the champion would like to defend his interim championship, we will look to do that too. So I didn't quite know how to interpret it. Does that mean that Dana is not yet under the impression, means he has not been told by Tom the Champion and Tom the Champion's team that Tom would like another match, that he does not want to wait? Is that what that means? And while this comes out, or at least moments after Dana's statement came out, an announcement came out, Curtis Blaydes versus Almeida. And that's a very interesting match to me. Very interesting, particularly when Almeida is a guy that counts on his double leg. He counts on being to out-wrestle somebody. I love that match. But who does that leave left for Tom? I mean, that puts a shining spotlight right on Ciryl. And I just don't believe those two are going to fight. I don't believe the UFC wants to put Ciryl into a position where they have to acknowledge he's the number one contender, which would give them a potential to put Ciryl back in there with Jones. I just don't think they're going to go into that direction. And moreover, Ciryl burned Tom bad. But Tom's sitting in the front row, setting up that division like nobody else had set it up. And then when it was Ciryl's moment, Ciryl panned him. I just don't think that Tom is now looking to do a favor for Ciryl. Now, those things can be worked around. What I just said isn't the world's biggest idea, right? I mean, it's fight promotion. You go out and promote a fight. You can get two guys together. I'm just making a prediction for you, and I'm making a guess for you. That if Dana is, in fact, waiting to hear from Tom the Champion, I want a match. I don't want to wait for Jones-Stipe. If that's what he's waiting for, and he hasn't heard that yet, and Tom is able to look at the field and see, with the announcement of Almeida and Blaydes, that it would likely be Ciryl, I don't think that Tom's going to make that call. I don't think he's going to do Ciryl that favor. That's just a guess. It's a wide open guess. And in the final analysis of everything that I had just told you, it is glaringly obvious there is something more going on within that division. There is no time in history. I mean, you got to understand, Jon Jones has been a complete pain in the ass. Not to mention, he doesn't draw very well. That's just the truth. You could slip in the nice stuff about how great and special and wonderful he is, but if we're talking truth, we got to make sure Stipe hasn't been Mr. Active or Mr. Busy and says it's going to be his last fight. I mean, just if you look at history, a guy that's pain in the ass or a guy that's on his way out don't have special things done for them, where there's not a precedence throughout history. They don't have that done for them. It's just not how this business has ever been ran. So I'm beating around the bush. I know I am. But there was very clearly a need to preserve that match for outside reasons that don't have to do with legacy or main event or business or ticket sales or promises made or championships. And that thing is so strong, it's gonna be the glue that holds that together. We are just gonna have to set that aside and stop talking about it. That glue, that thing is gonna hold that thing together. We got to now move on. What do we do with Tom? And when the likely dance partner is Ciryl, do you want to do Ciryl that favor? Do you want to put Ciryl in a situation where he could burn you the way he burned Tom once already, which damaged the entire show? The entire show has an encore that everyone knows about, and Ciryl took it from. Do you want to put Ciryl in a situation where he can burn you the way that he and Francis burned everybody, with having the single greatest storyline in heavyweight history and doing amongst the worst numbers of the last decade? Do you want to put Ciryl in a situation opposite Jon Jones where he makes his decision in the locker room before he ever walks out there? But tonight is about a paycheck, not about competition. Do you want to do that? If the answer is yes, let's get him to fight Tom.